some of it from you. Who has more to prove on Sunday?
Can you believe these two guys heard a lot of criticism from guys like me? It's an interesting world we live in. Two of the best who ever did it. But the answer is Tom Brady clearly has much more to prove in this game. Tom Brady's 43, not Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady's playing without Belichick for the first time in his career, not Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady's coming off a season where year over year he saw a massive decline in his numbers, not Aaron Rodgers. In fact, I'll get to that in a second. Tom Brady's on the team with an embarrassment of offensive weapons like everywhere you look, and a defense that's been roundly praised by football people this year, and even to an extent last year, looking back at last year, not Aaron Rodgers. Brady is set up here. By the way, Rodgers has to travel to face Brady. Brady's the one with something to prove. For the first, Belichick or Brady, who is it more? Okay, Brady gets away from Belichick, and what happens when he has a rematch with Nick Foles after losing in the Super Bowl to him a couple of years ago? Travels to Chicago. Nagy made a mistake. He gave the great Tom Brady over a minute to try and win this game, right? Here it comes. The Bucs are going to win. Watch out, everybody, especially the way Tom Brady chewed out his O-line publicly for everyone to see for making mental errors, right? Forget about pass protection. You guys were moonwalking down the field we're going the wrong way. You're killing our drives with all these mental errors and penalties. And then what happens? Not only does he fail to complete two difficult passes, nevertheless, he failed to do it, but he thought it was third down when it was fourth down at the end of the game with the game on the line in a 1 point, let alone one score game. The great Tom Brady, after chewing out his offensive line. You remember him doing stuff like that with the Patriots when he was with Belichick? Because I don't. Meantime, Aaron Rodgers is coming off a season where, is he slipping? Is he in decline? No, he was just learning a new system. Obviously, went 13-3 learning that new system and supposedly falling off with a great touchdown-interception ratio, right? Went 13-3, beat the Russell Wilson-led Seattle Seahawks in the playoffs, got to the NFC Championship game in that down year. And then this year so far, undefeated with the highest QBR posted after 4 games in the history of QBR. What does Aaron Rodgers have to prove right now? As usual, throwing to no first-round picks, right? The defense, nothing to write home about. Unless you're opposing offenses, we get to play the Packers' defense. No, it is clearly Tom Brady with more to prove in this game.
I don't feel that way. And I don't feel that way, and I respect where you're coming from with all of your positions because really, first of all, when we talk about these two guys, you know how I feel about Aaron Rodgers. Who's the man that coined the phrase, he's a bad man? It's me. It's that because that brother is that special.
That would be you.
Make no mistake of it. That would be me, all right? And we know that Tom Brady's a 6-time champion. The reason why I feel in this particular situation, however, that you can look at Aaron Rodgers and say he has something to prove because he's been damn near perfect. He's completed 70% of his passes. He's got 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, fresh off a 13-3 season and a trip to the NFC title game. But people still said there's slippage. He's not what he was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, et cetera, et cetera. Matter of fact, over the last 3 years, 2018, 2019 even, and now, before this season, Aaron Rodgers hasn't been Aaron Rodgers. So guess what? You're coming out here, particularly after they draft Jordan Love, your successor supposedly in the future, and they draft this guy instead of augmenting the wide receiving corps. You still got Valdez-Scantling. You still got Devontae Adams, all right?
Who I think should play this Sunday.
Who I think should play this Sunday. They're saying he should play this Sunday. So you got all of that going on. That's true. But in the end, they're looking at you and they're saying, what's up? Because that's the question about the Green Bay Packers, because you're saying if Aaron Rodgers is still great, then guess what? They could go over the hump, and the Green Bay Packers could pretty much be representing the NFC in a Super Bowl. When you have those kind of things being thrown out about you, you're age 36, and now you're going up against Tom Brady, who's 43. Tom Brady, in the end, when all else fails, has his birth certificate to fall back on. If all else fails, I'm 43. Yeah. I tried. I made a go of it. Didn't work. Oh, well. But when you're Aaron Rodgers and you only got one Super Bowl and you haven't been to the Super Bowl, let alone won one since 2010, and you're universally recognized as a future surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, a 2-time league MVP, a Super Bowl champion, the greatest talent I've ever seen at the quarterback position until Patrick Mahomes arrives. And even I still say Patrick Mahomes has to do it over a period of time before I'm willing to usurp him over Aaron Rodgers. In the end, I'm just saying that even though Aaron Rodgers is completely correct, I'm not playing against Tom Brady. I'm playing against that defense. The problem is if they lose this game and all of a sudden he has a bad game compared to the other games, we're going to look at him as being outplayed by Tom Brady. And that's how people are going to talk about it. That's why it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But if you got to answer the question picking one side over the other, that's where I come with Aaron Rodgers.
And he's tracking in the right direction right now and really redeeming himself after some of the critics last season. Lewis, where are you on this one?
Yeah, I'm going to say Tom has more to prove simply because of this. He didn't go down to Tampa just for a swan song, just to get some sun, just to live in Derek Jeter's house, ride around on jet skis in a boat, and just kind of ride off into the sunset. They brought him down there. He went down there. Yeah, it does sound good. He went down there because he thinks that they can win. And he thinks that they can compete at the highest level. The Buccaneers internally thought that he could put them over the hump in a way that Jameis Winston obviously could not. And for them, it was, we may start a little slow, it may take a little time, but by the end of the year, we expect to win the South, we expect to be in the NFC Championship game, and we expect to be contending for Super Bowl titles. Why else would you sign Tom Brady at this point? Why else? So the pressure is on him, especially given the fact that two of his primary pass catchers are hobbled going into this football game. So there's a lot of pressure on him, especially because he's coming off of a game where, as Stephen A. just alluded to, did he forget that it was fourth down? Did he think it was still a third down? There are the optics of him yelling at his offensive line, although he used to do that in New England too, so that doesn't bother me. But the fact is, he didn't deliver at the end of the game. Aaron Rodgers, whereas I can also see why people say, well, look, Aaron has only won one Super Bowl, despite the fact he's one of the most gifted players to ever play the position. Aaron Rodgers is in a very, very good place right now. Mentally, physically, how he feels about Matt LaFleur, how he feels about the weapons that he has, how these young guys have really taken from him as far as his confidence in the offense, and they are playing with confidence. They have a strong running game. I'm telling you what, I have never been more impressed talking to a veteran signal caller than I was in our production meetings when we talked to Aaron Rodgers. I could have sat there and listened to him all day long. He talked about more things than just football, to the point where it felt like I'm just going to tell you how I'm feeling about not just football, but about my teammates, about life, about how to handle being a pro, handle expectations. It was a tutorial it was an insight and kind of an inner look into the minds of one of the greatest players to ever play this game. And he then went out on that Monday night and played that way without his best weapons. No Alan Lazard, no Devontae Adams, and I know he's going up against the Atlanta Falcons, who aren't very good. He carved them up like they were a JV junior high team. It wasn't even a contest. And I'm telling you right now, this guy has got it going on. And he is playing where when you look at his face and you look at his expressions when he's playing the game, does he look like a guy who comes across as feeling as though he has to prove anything to anybody? He looks like he's saying this: I don't care what you do. I've got you. I've got all the answers. Tom looks like a guy who feels as though it is on me to really lift this football team down here in Tampa, because they brought me, the most accomplished quarterback ever, down here for one reason: to win the Super Bowl. That's it. Aaron doesn't play like that. No. But his team is in a position where I would be shocked if they don't make it to the Super Bowl, honestly.
Lewis, I think that if you ask who has more pressure on them, then Stephen A., I think you're answering the question to my ears. It sounds like you're making a case that would convince me that there's more pressure on Rodgers, given the way he's looked, given the fact that he only has one Super Bowl and all those things. And what does Tom Brady have to, prove in terms of that kind of stuff? So there is pressure always on Rodgers that way. But more to prove at this moment? No, you can't.